All right, welcome back to another episode of Mainly Hoops. Today we're going to be talking about Michigan State and Arkansas. Big game coming up this Saturday. Marcus, what are your initial thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I think the initial thoughts are, you know, obviously we've talked about this a lot. Like Michigan State relies heavily on their front court. They're not a team that can really space the floor at all. I mean, what was it in their exhibition game? They made like three threes or something.
It wasn't good. It wasn't
And
good. That's all I
and
can say.
and like the other night they made six. They went 6 for 21. Took 39 shots inside the paint. But that what they lack on the perimeter, they have, in their front court in, offensive rebounding. Jackson Kohler had 7 offensive rebounds. As a team, they had 19. And they're going to be, again, one of the best offensive rebounding teams. Just they're going to have to be because their perimeter. They're going to be throwing up enough misses on the perimeter that their offensive rebounders are going to be getting after it. But I think that's an area in this game where Michigan State can have success. Arkansas isn't fantastic on the glass, as we talked about. I mean, we mentioned in their team preview we expect them to be a little bit better, but they allowed 12 offensive rebounds to Southern the other night in their opener. So for me, I don't know. I know, Cody, you feel a little bit differently about this game. I just can't really get there with Michigan State. I think Arkansas's talent is really there. We saw a great performance from Darius Acuff in his debut, 22 points on 8 of 13 shooting. He's going to be super dynamic and fun to watch all season for this Arkansas team. We saw like the return of Trevon Brazile. He went MIA for a season. He had 25 and 11 the other night. I was high on him last year, and then he just disappeared. And also Malik Thomas off the bench had 21. So obviously this is another tough environment for freshmen to go into, right? Because this is at Michigan State, correct?
Yeah.
So this is a tough environment for your not your 2 leading scorers, but 2 of your top 3 from the other night, and Thomas and Acuff to go into at Michigan State. So I think that's noteworthy, especially a team like Michigan State, that the floor is always so high with just like how well coached they are, how good the front court is, right? Like they're always going to be able to just sort of muck things up just enough, especially against a younger team. So I think it makes for an interesting matchup. I just can't really get there on Michigan State.
Cody, I know you feel a little differently about this game. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I have like a strong lean to Michigan State. Obviously, there are like areas of concern for me. And it starts with the backcourt of Arkansas. Acuff, and I know Malik Thomas doesn't start, but I would consider him their second best guard. And then you throw Wagner and Carter Knox if he's able to play, and Billy Richmond in the mix. And you have a pretty good group, but this is like Coach Cal offenses have been fairly transition reliant. At least over the past few years, they've always tried to get out and run, and I still don't think this offense is like spectacular in a half court setting. And this is a Michigan State team that's going to force you to operate in the half court. And I think Tom Izzo defenses always have a super high floor. They're always going to be great on the glass, and if they force Arkansas to execute in the half court at a high level, I really like their chances here in this game. And if they can control the glass, I think that's going to give them an even better chance. Obviously, if Michigan State is, giving the ball away, because I do think that's another like concern for this team is, Pierce has never been like the most sure-handed with the ball, and he's going to have a lot of responsibility in this game. And if he's turning the ball over, I think Arkansas is going to have the opportunity to get out in the open floor a little bit more often than Coach Izzo would like. But ultimately, I do just trust, Michigan State, especially playing at home. Arkansas traveling with a younger backcourt in their first true road game of the season. I like Michigan State to get it done, regardless of what we think of this offense. I don't think it's necessarily spectacular, like Marcus mentioned. Like the shooting isn't all that high level, and like I mentioned, their inability, well, like their projected inability to take care of the ball. But ultimately, I think they can get it done here.
Yeah, I have to side with Marcus on this one. I just think the talent at the end of the day does it for Arkansas. I really like. We talked about it a little bit in the best bets video, but I really think the talent on this Arkansas team could be a Final Four contender. Whether Coach Cal pulls that all together, I don't know. I think is Carter Knox going to play in this game? Have they said?
I haven't seen, but all I know is he didn't play against Southern. I don't know if it was precautionary or whatever, but
Yeah.
I haven't seen any like actual report on him yet.
Yeah, I know that's a guy they really expect to take a leap this season, and especially if he plays, I just think the backcourt talent, I think it's kind of overwhelming, and I like Arkansas here. But Marcus, we'll go back to you here. Since you're on Arkansas, what do you think Arkansas's keys to the game are in order to win?
Yeah, I mean, I think early in the game, I think it's really going to be up to them to dictate what pace they play the game at. I think if they can come out early and really like speed this game up, Cody mentioned Michigan State's turnover concerns. I think like Michigan State, granted it's a 1-game sample size, but they were 207th in adjusted tempo. Arkansas wants to push the pace with these guards, right? So I think it's going to be up to Arkansas. Can they come out and, punch first and really push the pace in this game? With those guards, get downhill in transition. They have a front court that can run as well. You've got Brazil, Ewan, as we discussed, like he runs well, he moves up the floor well. And then the other thing is like, can they control the glass to a point? Like Michigan State's going to get their offensive rebounds, right? But can Arkansas limit them? And the ones that Michigan State does get, can they force them to throw the ball back out? Force them to throw it back out to shoot and make threes, which like I'm not that confident in Michigan State to be able to do that. So I think that's an area where like Arkansas needs to be really good, right? If they don't get the defensive rebound, at the very least, wall up, make those guys throw it out. So I think it's really going to be the first 4 minutes, who comes out and punches first with the pace.
Yeah. Cody, on your side, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but what are the biggest keys for you for Michigan State to pull off this win?
Yeah, I mean, controlling the pace, I think, is the biggest thing here. Like I mentioned, keeping this Arkansas offense out of transition is your best proposition. And like I mentioned, I know Arkansas is definitely an improved half court offense with the additions that they made, and I think it's making Darius Acuff uncomfortable as well. I think would be huge here, and they have a candidate to do that in Jeremy Fears. He's a really good on ball defender, can match him in size and lateral quickness, and it's going to be Acuff's first test against a really good defense. Like this is Izzo defenses are perennially like top 20 to top 25 defenses in the nation. And, a high school guy coming in and he's going to want to be able to get out and run. He's not going to be able to do that here against this Tom Izzo defense. And, and like I mentioned, like Michigan State controlling the glass is another key here as well. Being able to work through the post a little bit as well. I think Jackson Kohler has an advantage size wise against, I think he's probably, I don't know if he's going to get the Brazil matchup or if he'll draw somebody else like a Pringle or an Ewan and Brazil ends up guarding Cooper or something like that. But regardless, I think Sparty's going to have a nice offensive rebounding edge here in this game. And, I just think their continuity and their experience can kind of play up and as well. Like I mentioned, I don't feel like strongly about Sparty winning this game, but it wouldn't shock me at all if they're able to win this game by a little bit of margin.
Yeah, it should be a fun one for sure. I think we're all looking forward to it. So let us know if you agree in the comments down below, and be sure to like and subscribe.